Who remembers last week's physics and chemistry? Okay, so what did we do? What did we? Okay, so what is salt and what is light? What is light?
Form energies.
Okay, so what did we say about salt and what did we say about light? Okay, salt of the earth and light of the world. Okay. Salt, okay, it gives taste, it preserves, and one more we said. That was the sign of the covenant that God made with us. Right? Okay. And what is light? Light helps people see. So what happens when they see? And what happens when they feel guilty? Some do, some don't. Right? Okay. Today we are going to talk about something else. We are going to talk about the power of the gospel. Huh? So should I? You don't want me to ask you questions. I am going to ask you questions. How can I not? Okay. So what is gospel? Gospel is good news. Okay.
Yes.
Gospel is good news. Anything else? What else is gospel? Gospel is good news. Okay. The word that's translated in the New Testament from Greek is from the word evangelion or evangelion, which means good message. Okay? Good news. Okay, gospel is good news. What else? It contains all Jesus' teachings. Okay? Okay. Okay, maybe we should read that verse. Right? It's Matthew 28, verse 19.
28 verse
90.
91
Yeah. Matthew
90.
19. Matthew 28.
Go ye therefore and teach our nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost.
Okay.
19.
And then go on, and verse 20. And then?
Teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded
Okay,
you.
so there's two parts of it. The first is preach to all. Okay, maybe you should read that also. Keep your finger here and go to Mark chapter 16. Verse
16 verse.
15, I think. 15. 15.
And he said to them, go
Verse
into
15.
all the world. He who believes and is
No, verse 15.
okay. And he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
To every creature. Okay. See, first he's saying go and preach. Right? Yeah. Means every person.
And
Okay.
he who believes.
Let me explain to you why every creature. You can keep a finger there also and go to Genesis chapter 1.
Genesis chapter. Okay,
One.
what? Genesis 1 verse.
Okay, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7.
Verse 7.
And God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils a breath of life, and man became a living being.
Okay, a living being, a living soul. I think NIV says living creature. Right? Now the word there is nephesh, which can be translated as being, creature or soul. Okay? So that's where you got your creature. Okay. Preach, go Mark 16:15.
And he said to them, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature.
Okay.
He who believes is
Okay,
baptized.
stop. Okay, preach. The first thing is preach to every creature. What? Preach what?
Gospel.
What is the gospel? Good news or good message. Okay. Now come back to Matthew 28.
Teach them to all things that I have commanded you.
Okay, so first thing is tell them good news and then tell them everything that I told you. Right? Right? First is good news and then everything. Yeah, observe, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you. Right? So when you said the gospel includes, all that Jesus said, that's all that Jesus said. Teaching them. So the first part is preach the good news or gospel and then teach them all that Jesus said. Okay. So what else
And
is the
lo,
gospel?
And lo,
I
I
have
have-
always,
Okay.
even to the end of the world.
What's low?
Here. See, I am with you. Okay. So what is this gospel? Okay. So what is this good news? A good message that you're supposed to. Jesus. What about you? That he saved us. Ah, okay. That he saved us. Saved us from what?
Awesome.
That
Sin, death. What else? Eternal hell. Okay. What else? He saved us from sin. He saved us from death. He saved us from hell. Okay. So if he saved us from sin, what is sin?
missing the mark.
Ah, this is dangerous. Have you? How many of you have seen that video of this Robin Hood video? You know, missing the mark is a very nice, easy, you know, very comfortable way of saying it. But just imagine that this is a well over here, and you jump halfway through, halfway across. What happens? You miss the mark. Okay? Or like the fellow with the arrow, you miss the apple and you get the guy holding the apple. What happens? See, so this missing the mark can actually be very serious. You know, it's quite a matter of life and death. You know, so sin is actually a matter of life and death. That is what can kill you. Sin is so powerful that it's guaranteed to kill you. Guaranteed source of death. Okay? Okay, it comes from, again, if you go back to Hebrew and Greek, in Hebrew it comes from the word hata, which means, which means you're a criminal or you're guilty. Guilty of crime. Okay? Or in Hebrew the word is hamartia, which literally means to miss the mark or to do something wrong. Okay. So what does sin do? It kills you. How does it kill you? Okay. So how do you die if you're separated from God? Okay.
Hannah said because God is the source of all life.
Correct. God is the source of life. So you know, okay. When God made fish, how did God make the fish? Spoke to?
The waters of the deep. Like
Okay, he spoke to the waters and said, let it bring forth fish. And it brought forth fish. What happens if you take the fish out of the water? It dies? Okay. How did God make? Ultimately it will die.
Yummy.
Crab is not fish.
Garbage fish.
Crab is not
It
fish.
is technically a fish.
No.
Like a magic gift.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
How did God make the plants?
He spoke.
Spoke to
the land.
the land. You pull the plant up, what happens?
It dies.
Okay. How did God make man?
From the dust.
In his image.
In his image.
He breathed.
He breathes into it. Okay, maybe you should read that also. Genesis 1:26.
120. Then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created man.
So when God spoke, who did God speak to make man?
Himself.
Huh?
Himself.
To himself. He said, let us make. Right?
Why
So-
not?
Who's yours?
Father, Son, and the Holy
Father,
Spirit.
Son, and Holy Spirit. So there's, I think it's in Psalm 2, there's this discussion going on in heaven between the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. You know about what's happening. Maybe you should go home and read that. Psalm 2. Homework. Okay.
Oh yeah, give us some more class.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Okay. So when God made man, he spoke to himself. If you separate man from God, what will happen? What will happen? He'll die. Right? Okay. So how do we get separated from God? Huh? By sinning. Okay. Maybe you should read that also. Yeah, it's good to read everything from the Bible. So, Isaiah 59.
Wow, you don't have
Isaiah?
any books.
I found it. Isaiah?
Chapter 59,
Verse.
verse 1 and 2.
Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, now his ear heavy that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated you from your God, and your
Okay.
sins have hidden his face from you so that he will not hear.
Okay, so sin separates us from God, and when you're separated from God, what happens? You die. How do you die? Okay, there are two kinds of death mentioned in the Bible, right?
Physical and mental. See, what Sorry, spiritual and physical.
Okay, how many times is a person supposed to die?
Once.
Once or twice?
Once.
Once or twice?
Once. Once. Becky, you want to go to hell?
That's what a normal person does, okay?
Go
Okay,
to hell?
a person is supposed to die once, right? Right or wrong? Yeah, in Hebrews it says it's appointed for a person to die once, and after that
Heaven.
is no, after that is judgment. You still have one hurdle to get past. Okay, it's appointed for everybody to die once and then there's judgment. But you have an option of not having to die once more. There is a second death. And that second death is eternally being separated from God. Okay? That second death has actually happened here already and it's present continuous. Till you come back to life. It's present continuous. Yeah, it's happening and it's going, continuous happening. We're talking English.
That's true.
Okay, so one death is for everybody, but which you may die, you may not die. If the Lord comes back and you're still alive, you don't die. You know? But the second death is, it's an eternal death and it's the effect of separation from God forever. Right? So sin is the only thing that actually can separate you from God. There's nothing else. And sin is so powerful that it can actually kill you. Now we're talking of life and death. So if sin is so serious and it's so lethal, it can kill you. What is salvation?
The opposite.
The opposite. Meaning? Yeah, it can save you. So what does it mean to save you?
You know.
Okay, you don't have to die. Okay. Okay, so what all does sin do? Sin can kill you. Okay. Where is sin? Present. Okay. In the world. Okay. All around us. Fine. And what can it do? Choke. Okay. What is the penalty for sin? Death. Okay. The wages of sin is death. You know the rest of the verse?
And the gift of God is eternal life.
That's the nice part. See? So we're talking of sin and life. We're talking of death and life. So the change from death to life is what we talk of salvation. When you say you get saved, you are rescued from sin. Right? Okay, so sin is, it has a penalty. So when you get saved, when you receive Jesus, when you believe, okay, maybe we should read that also. Romans chapter 10. Romans 10.
What?
It's not Romans 16:19, it's Romans 10:9.
Romans 10:9.
Nine.
But if you confess
Romans
with your
10,
mouth
9 and 10.
That the Lord Jesus and believe in
Nine
your
and
heart
ten.
that
Yeah.
the God is raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes to righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made to salvation.
Okay, so it says that if you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth,
Light on. Put the light on.
if you believe in your heart that God has raised him up from the dead,
It's
if
not
you
light on.
confess with your mouth, or if you acknowledge the Lordship of Jesus and you believe in your heart that God has raised him up from the dead, you will be saved. Right? So, you are saved from sin. The first thing that you are saved from is the penalty of sin. Right? The wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. Okay? Yeah, and that eternal life comes only through Christ Jesus, through nobody else. There is no other way. No, all roads lead to Rome business. No? There is only one way, and apart from Jesus, there is no other way. Okay? So, first thing we get saved is from the penalty of sin. What's the next? Okay, the penalty of sin is dealt with, but still, sin is still around, right? And it can do something. If it's around, can it still kill you? Yes or no?
Yes, it can.
It can? Okay, let's think there's a snake, cobra, fellow. Can it still kill you? What happened to that snake? Went away. Okay, so if the snake, as long as the snake is there, it can still bite you and kill you, right? So as long as sin is there, it can still kill you. So now you need to be protected from that snake. Right? So salvation starts with, rescuing you or delivering you, rescuing you from the penalty of sin. Okay, now you don't have to die. You're not dead man walking anymore. But now the sin is still there, and you need something to keep you safe from that sin. So salvation goes a step further, where God says, okay, now He will lead us in the paths of righteousness. That's Psalm 23, verse 5. He leads me in the paths, no, verse 4 I think. Leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. That's protection. Right? And then, finally, you need to get to a place where the sin is not even there anymore. Right? And that's when the Lord comes back and takes us, and then we will be delivered from the presence of sin. So it's from the penalty, the power and presence of sin. Okay? Okay, so how do we get saved? Confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that. Okay, so this becomes very easy. Now let's put how you get saved and good news, good message together. Now what is this good message that people should get saved? What good message should they hear that they get saved? See, ultimately what you want, people need to be set free from sin and get saved, right? Right or wrong? Okay, but why should they, be set free from sin and get saved? Okay, so they don't go to hell. So they'll be here or go to heaven or what? Yeah, in the process, walking, eventually, it's like when we all get to heaven, but is the aim to get to heaven? Or is the aim something else? Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. No one goes to heaven except through me. Right or wrong? No.
The Father.
No one comes to the Father, no one comes to heaven. Sure. Very sure. How sure? Okay, so Jesus came to take us to heaven or to the Father? See, now what we've been trying to do is escape hell and go to heaven. But what God has been trying to do is say, you escape death and come to me. Right? It's not escape hell and go to heaven, it's escape death and come to me. Right? Jesus didn't come to take us to heaven, he came to take us to Father. And our job, see, the thing is, we have been enemies of God, right? Either you're on God's side or you're on whose side?
The other side.
On the other side. Which is the other side? Whichever other side it is. It's where the right side is the wrong side. Huh? Yeah.
As India, where the right side is the wrong side.
Oh, like that.
You know, when you're on the road, either you're quick or you're dead. It's the difference between the quick and the dead. Either you're quick or you're dead. But God wanted us to be on His side, not on the other side. Right? So what happens if you're on the other side? Whichever the other side is. Whichever the other side is. So which is the other side then? If it's not God's side, which is the other side? Satan's side, okay. Any other side? Same thing. Okay. Why is Satan linked to sin? He started. Yeah, he did. He started, correct? Yeah, he only made. Eve and Adam were the ones who fell for it. But where did it come from? Okay, maybe you should read that also.
Okay.
James chapter 1.
Oh, James. I'm not talking about it.
James chapter
It's after Hebrews. James chapter 1.
1 verse.
Verses 13 onwards.
30. Let no one say, said, I am tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he himself tempt anyone. He is not tempted when he is drawn away by his own desires and enticed.
Ah.
Then, what desires?
Wait. Slowly. Each one is tempted. For what?
His own
He
He
desires.
says, no. He says, God cannot be tempted, nor does God tempt anybody with evil, right? In other words, God does not tempt you to do wrong. He doesn't put wrong in your way and, hope you'll miss it or jump over it. See, God doesn't do all that. It's the devil who puts stuff in your way. It's the devil who brings, we were saying what the devil meant for evil, he turned it for good. Maybe read verse 12 also.
12.
Blessed is the man who-
endures temptation.
Ah.
For when he has been proved, he will receive the crown of life.
See, all these obstacles and these stumbling blocks the devil puts in your way are so that you can jump over them and receive your crown of life. Temptation is an opportunity to put the devil in his place, underfoot. Right? That's what we said. That's what we sang. Where the God of peace will crush Satan where? No, say underneath my feet, not your feet. My feet. Right? So, if God is going to crush Satan underneath your feet, then you always jump over it. Right? Not under. See, either you can have the devil under your feet or on your head. If the devil is on your head, you do whatever he says. If he's under your foot, you don't have to do what he says. Right? So, temptation or all of these things, these stumbling blocks the devil puts in your way, is so that you can get over it and get the crown of life. Right? Read that verse again, verse 12.
Blessed is the man who endures temptation,
Yeah. For when he is approved, he will receive the crown of life,
which the Lord
which the Lord has promised to those who love him. Okay. So, the next verse says, let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. Because God does not tempt anybody with evil, neither can he be tempted with evil. Right? So God doesn't put these stumbling blocks in your way. Then what happens? So the devil puts it there. And how do these stumbling blocks come? But each one is tempted when he is drawn aside.
by his own
Pull.
desires.
Drawn aside by his own desires
and
and enticed. So these desires that we have are like a handle. Like a handle. So what you do, You get hold of the handle and pull, right? If you want to open a door, what do? You hold the handle and pull or push, right? It's the handle.
You don't hold the handle.
Each one is tempted when he is drawn aside, or pull using his own handle, his own desires. Okay, that's how he is enticed. That's how you are enticed. And then,
When
then when
desire
desires
is
has
conceived, it
Okay.
gives birth to sin.
and sin when it is finished, bring forth death. So how this happens is, it happens with thoughts. The thought comes into your head, and then you keep thinking on it. It goes from your head to your heart. Becomes your intention. You want to do it. I want to do it. I'm going to do it, and you won't do it. And sin when it is finished, brings forth death. Right? And then the next verse says, "Do not err, my brethren." Right?
Not be deceived, my beloved.
Don't be deceived. Right? See, now God doesn't tempt us. So where does this sin come from? It comes usually through temptation. And how does this temptation come? From the devil. Right? Somebody has to pull, right? Somebody has to pull. Now if you resist that pull, it's not much of a problem. Because the Bible says, resist the devil and he will. That's doggy style. Have you seen these dogs come chasing you when you go past?
He does the gun.
That's his friends.
Yeah.
You know what happens?
It has
If
to
you
be like-
if you stand and look at it like that, you think you put its tail between its legs and slowly walk away. Next,
Right.
you start chasing
I'm
it.
trying that.
No, and then you
Okay.
start chasing it. You know what will happen? It will scram. It will really scram.
Yeah,
He
So
just has to learn
see,
it.
the devil is like a doggy. This is David. This is like David and Goliath. It's like David and Goliath. David first he dealt with this lion, big, next little smaller bear, third was puppy, called Goliath. He said, Goliath himself said, "Am I a dog? That you come to me with sticks and stones?" David must have said, "Yes, puppy." What do you do when you see a stray puppy? You throw a stone at it. Okay, you resist the devil, he flee from you. So when every time there's this pull, you resist it, the fellow finally flee from you because it's doggy. Okay. So Jesus came for what? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life, no man.
Comes to the Father.
Okay, so how do you come to the Father? Okay, how does anybody else come to the Father? Okay. So somebody doesn't know about Jesus, they don't know how to come to the Father. What do?
Get taught.
Get taught. What do you teach them? Huh? Okay, so what is it?
Same question.
Why are you trying to
Because we still haven't answered that question.
The good news.
Okay, so what is this good news that you're going to tell them? That Jesus came and Jesus died for their sins. Okay,
And go to get number two.
and rose again on the third day. Then, anything else?
What did you say?
I was a dead man walking, now I'm a live man walking. Yeah, that's true. That's the last part of the gospel. Okay, let's read that. 1 Corinthians 15.
Wow.
Corinthians.
Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 15. Okay,
15 what?
afternoon.
15 what?
It's right over here.
At 1 to 8, no, we read from verse 3.
For I delivered you first of all that.
Wait,
which I
let the others
also-
find it also.
What?
3 to 8. Okay,
For I delivered you first of all that which I also received in Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures.
okay, first thing. How Jesus died on the cross for our sins according to the scriptures. Next.
And that he was buried and he rose again on the third day according to the
He rose again the third day according to the scriptures.
And that
Okay.
he was seen by Cephas and by the 12.
Okay.
After that he was seen by over 500 dying at once,
Okay.
of whom the greater part remain to the present, but some have fallen asleep. After that he was seen by James, then by all the apostles. Then last of all he was seen by me also, as by one born out of due time. For I am the least of the apostles, who am not worthy to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. but by the grace of God, I am what I am.
Okay,
And
enough.
His-
Okay, you read past it. Okay, so it starts how Jesus died on the cross for our sins according to the scriptures. First. Second, that he was buried and he rose again the third day according to the scriptures. And the third,
He was seen by
lot of,
Jesus
yeah,
and
lot
the
of people
12.
saw him.
and the 12.
Lot of people saw him. There are a lot of witnesses that he is alive. Last.
Seen by me.
I was dead man walking, now I'm live man walking. Right? See, the gospel is incomplete without that last part. Right? Jesus came, he died on the cross, he rose again. Many people saw him. What's important to the last part?
He gave life.
I saw him. I met him. You know, he changed my life. He changed my life. See, when somebody sees you, the first thing they see is how you are, what you do. Before they listen to what you say, they see what you do. They see how you behave. They see what they see how you carry yourself. And then, when you tell them, say, yeah, I've seen you do that. Right? So that last part is so important because that is your own experience. And if you don't have that experience, you cannot tell somebody about it. It's like saying biryani is nice if you haven't tasted it. Right? How do you know the biryani is good? Okay, you can tell people God is good. How do you know? Okay. So the Bible says a lot of
But he
things.
has been good.
The Bible also says Judas went and hanged himself. You know? Is that good?
That's what he did on his own.
He did it on his own. But is it good? Right? So how do you know God is good? Have you experienced that God is good? No. If you haven't, then you have to say, okay, Lord, I want to experience, I want to know, I want that experience to be able to tell people God is good. There was one lady I heard of in somewhere near Davangere. Village lady. Old lady, the government had given all of them, I think, about 1 acre of land. So this lady has been coming to the church. Few people only left. You know, she's been coming to the church and she's been hearing people sharing testimony every Sunday. And so she prayed one day, I also want to share testimony. She went back home. Monday she went to the field. And cobra came and bit her on her foot. Everybody came running, okay, this lady is gone, she's going to die. She said, don't worry, nothing will happen. Get some oil. Took some oil, she prayed, she put it on that. She said, hallelujah, I'm fine. Sunday she came and gave testimony in church. Last week I prayed, I was saying I want to give testimony. I went back, Monday a cobra bit me. But I'm alive. You know, I'm here to tell the tale. Okay, this generally doesn't happen, but the Bible says that if you know this, you can even pick up these things and they won't do anything to you. So maybe she believed that. And she was there to give testimony. Right? You see, so if you want to have an experience that God is good, you can ask God for that. It may be, you know, something like the enemy do something for evil and God turns it for good. Right? Nothing happened to her, though she got bitten by a cobra. She lived to tell the tale. So now, the good news that you share to somebody, you know that part in those things we read in 1 Corinthians 15. Does it say anything about you come to Jesus, everything will be fine? Does it say you'll be blessed? Does it say that you'll prosper? Does it say that you are the center of God's purpose or plan? It doesn't say all of those things. It just so simply says that Jesus came, He died on the cross for our sins. So if He died on the cross for our sins, why was that necessary? To save us, okay? Because that was the only way that maybe we'll see this next week. We'll see why did Jesus die. Okay? So your homework is to figure out why Jesus died on the cross. Okay? That's for next week. So when Jesus died, what he did was the penalty of sin was paid. Okay? We can now be reconciled to the Father. So what is good about this gospel? Jesus came, he died. Is it good? He was crucified. It's not good, it's terrible. It's not even bad, it's terrible. Okay? It's the most torturous death known to man. Okay. That's not nice. Okay, he also gave that's a huh? And a lot of people saw him alive. Wow. Finally he changed my life. Even more wow. Okay, but what has that got to do with? Somebody, any person who you meet somebody on the street. What does that have to do with that person, That's another person. That's another person whom Jesus died for. For what? To be reconciled to God. Right? Enemy to become friend. And how did that happen? The only way is through Jesus, no other way. Maybe we should read that also. 2 Corinthians chapter 5.
Wow.
Corinthians chapter 5.
Chapter 5 verse
19?
To it that God was in Christ reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them.
Okay. Now I'm talking something nice. Okay. Now when when you have to be reconciled to God, and He says, "Hey, you're a sinner. You better repent and come." What will happen? See, if I tell somebody, you're a sinner. You're going to go to hell. You better repent and come to God. What will happen? Exactly. Run away. You will stop short of getting trashed. Right? See, why is it like that? It's because they get offended. Nobody wants to be called a sinner. Like they say, hey, you're a sinner. They're like, you're not a sinner, man. Right? We can't deny that. So, when God was saying He is not counting sin, suppose, you mean He's not calling me sinner? Well, you are a sinner, but He's not looking at that. We'll put that aside for now. And He's saying still come. Just imagine a God who cannot look at sin is saying, I know you're sinful, but come. Now that is a step beyond. Right? So what we're saying is God is saying, come, I'll ignore your sin. It's free. The only catch is there is only one way. No all roads lead to Rome. Every way doesn't lead to God. The only way you can come is through Jesus. God was in Christ, reconciling the world to Himself without counting their iniquities or trespasses. And what has He done? He has given us that word of reconciliation, right? Read on.
and has committed to us the word of the
Okay,
word
so He's saying, now I have reconciled you. You've become my friends. Now you go and make other people also my friends, right? Read on.
Now that we are
Ambassadors.
ambassadors for Christ,
Hmm.
as
As though-
the God were pleading to us, we implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God.
Okay, so what we're saying is, come, be reconciled to God. We are representatives or ambassadors of Christ, and we are saying, telling people, come, be reconciled to God. And see, this small thing of the gospel is so powerful that it can take you from death to life. Just imagine, a person is dead, and what is the kind of power that you need to use to bring that person back to life? Is it possible? Is it Does it happen? This is something that we can do. No? If we can't do, then that's something beyond us. Only God can do. And when he said in Isaiah 59 verse 2, God's hand is not shortened that he cannot save. In verse 1, God's hand is not shortened. Just imagine how much, use a finger or use an entire hand. With the hand you can pick up something heavy, right? You can exercise strength. You can push, you can pull, you can do a lot of things with the hand. You can't do much with the finger or toe. And when he says God's hand is not shortened, he said he wrote on the tablets of stone with the finger of God. Right? Right or wrong?
Yes.
Okay, just imagine finger goes like this and this. Things carved out of rock. Wow. Okay, he said, with the finger of God, I cast out demons. Right? Just imagine, it's like saying, go, and the devil goes flying. Now, compare that with using his arm. The hand of God is not shortened that he cannot save. How much more this is. Just imagine if you have to pick up somebody literally from the pit of hell and take them all the way up, put them in heaven, sit them over there. Or he says, pick you up from down and sit you next to me. How much is that? That's a lot. That's what it says in Ephesians 2:6. He says, he has raised us up with him and made us sit with him in heavenly places. See, that is the power that God exercised. In okay, we should read that verse also. Romans chapter 1.
Romans chapter 1 verse.
Verse.
Which verse, Becky? Romans 16. Romans chapter 1 verse 16 and 17.
So I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ.
Okay, no. One sec. Read from verse 15.
So
No, read from verse 14.
I am a debtor both to Greeks and to barbarians,
Okay.
both to wise and to unwise.
So,
So as much as is in me, I am ready to preach the gospel to you who are in Rome also, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, the Jew first and also for the Greek, for in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as it is written,
The just
shall
shall
live by
live by faith. Okay. So here he's saying, I owe you people a lot. I'm ready to preach the gospel to you also. Why I'm not ashamed of simple thing called the gospel. What Jesus came and died and rose again. A lot of people saw him. He changed my life. And that's the only way that you will be reconciled with God. No other way. Right? No other way. So he's saying, I'm not ashamed of this because it's so powerful. It can take you literally from hell and sit you in heaven. That's how powerful it is. And in that, the righteousness of God is revealed, where God is saying, I have done things right. And then he's showing you as an example. Once you receive that, he's giving you as an example to others and saying, see, this is the example, I have done things right. What was wrong has been made right. The sinner has been made a saint. Right? That is the power. Literally, the hand of God picking you up and seating you along with it. It's like, just imagine you pick up a little child and put him on your lap. It's like a little bigger than little child. But if you were to pick up a child and put him on your lap, just imagine that God the Father does literally the same thing. Okay, maybe we should read that also. Ephesians. Ephesians 1,
Chapter 1 verse.
18 to 21. Wait, Lord. In verse 16 he says, I don't stop praying for you. Verse 17 says that
That God of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of glory, may give to us to you the spirit of wisdom and reconciliation in the knowledge of Him. The eyes of
Your
the eyes of
understanding.
your understanding being enlightened,
Mhm.
that you may know what is the hope of his calling,
Mhm.
what are the riches
Of His glory.
of the glory of his inheritance
In the saints.
in the saints, and what is the exceeding
And what is the exceeding
greatness
greatness
of his
of
power
His power
towards us.
Okay, the exceeding greatness is not just great. Exceeding greatness of His power towards us. Continue. Continue.
According to the working of his
His power.
almighty power,
Mhm.
of
Which
his
He
mighty power, which he worked in Christ when he raised him from the dead and seated him at his right hand, in the heavenly place.
Okay, so he's saying the exceeding greatness of His mighty power, which He exercised in raising Jesus from the dead and seating with him in heavenly places, right? Now go to chapter 2, verse 6. It says, He has raised us up.
Together and made us sit together in the heavenly place in Christ Jesus.
Okay, so now isn't this the same thing? So the exceeding, shall we say, the exceeding greatness of His mighty power to pick us up and make us sit with Him. And you know how this power works? Through that simple thing called the gospel. Jesus came, died according to the scriptures for our sins. He rose again according to the scriptures, and we are witnesses that He is alive. So simple. And when a person believes that Jesus is alive and that He is the Son of God, you know, Muslims have a problem. They believe everything about Jesus except that He is the Son of God. He who has the Son has life. He who does not have the Son does not have life. So they still miss it because they forget, they don't accept that Jesus is the Son of God. You know, just imagine you have everything and you miss it on one and it's gone. So sad. You know, when you believe that Jesus died, you believe that He was the Son of God, that He was, the way He was born, that He lived, died on the cross, that He was crucified as a penalty for our sins, that He was buried, that He rose again. You know, all of these, it's to do with the entire life of Christ. It's not just, okay, you know, He was crucified, He rose again, finished. Salvation hinges on the point that we believe that Jesus is alive. If Jesus is not alive, we are still in sin. If Jesus did not rise from the dead, sin would not be defeated. That's 1 Corinthians 15, I think, verse 51. You know, if Jesus did not rise from the dead, there is no end for the power of sin. But because Jesus is alive, and that same power now works in us to pick us up from, you know, from dead, literally from dead, because separated from God, right? From dead to seat with Him. That is the power that is exercised in the gospel. So when we say or talk of the power of the gospel, it is actually literally resurrection power. That same power that God exercised, no, should we say, the exceeding greatness of His mighty power that He exercised in raising Christ from the dead and, you know, seating Him in heavenly places, is the same that God puts in each one of us. That is God. That is huge. So, once we receive that, now we need to tell others, come, be reconciled with God. Come, be reconciled with God. It's not offensive. There's nothing wrong. People don't have a problem with being reconciled to God as long as their sins get hidden. Or they get forgiven. That's not our job. You know, when the Holy Spirit comes, He convict them of sin because they don't believe. And then they'll repent and they'll be okay. That's His job. Cleaning them, bringing them is our job. Cleaning them out is His job. Bringing them is our job. Cleaning them out is His job. We do our job, He does. We bring them, He stretches out His hand. So it's up to us, you know, to actually invite people and say, okay, come, be reconciled to them. And God will say, okay, he stretch his hand, come and sit. That's how faithful God is in all that he does. Let's pray. Father, we just thank you, Lord, because the power that you have exercised in us is so great. And we pray, Lord, that this week you will give us people that we can reconcile or have them reconciled to you. That you will bring us opportunity, Lord, to share your gospel with people, to tell them, to show them that Jesus is alive, and to welcome them to the kingdom of God, to be reconciled. We pray, Lord, for your wisdom and protection on us this week, Lord, for your anointing to engulf us and lead us, that we will glorify you. And we just commit ourselves into your hands, Lord, for your direction, that you will every day lead us as we read in your word, according to your paths, in your ways of righteousness for your name's sake. And we just thank you, Lord. We praise you and we give you all the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Christ is my role.